This is how signing into Rootwoven used to work. We tap one button and choose a Google account. Depending on that account's state, Google Play Games could then ask us to create or select a gaming profile or approve Play Games access before we could enter the game. This is the replacement. We tap Continue with Google, choose the account, and return to Rootwoven. This path does not ask for or use a Play Games profile. Both start with Google, but a Google account, a Play Games profile, and a Rootwoven session are three different things. We needed the Google account to get the player back into Rootwoven. We did not need the Play Games profile in between. So why did signing into Rootwoven require joining a gaming platform at all? We had a good reason for choosing it. At the time, we were adding platform login for both Steam and Android. The plan was simple. Get a credential from the platform, send it to our account server, and create the usual Rootwoven session. Our planning document estimated roughly 5 platform-specific lines for each platform. On Android, Google already maintained a Play Games plugin for Unity. Instead of building and maintaining our own bridge between Unity and Android, we could install that plugin and make 3 main calls: activate Play Games, authenticate the player, and request server-side access. Authentication is sensitive code. We did not want to recreate Google's account UI, handle credentials ourselves, or maintain an Android integration if Google already maintained one. The plugin worked exactly as designed. What we missed was simple. Those 3 calls signed the player into Play Games, not just Google. 3 calls look small. The extra login screens did not. This is not a criticism of Play Games. Achievements, leaderboards, saved games, events, nearby connections, and player profiles belong there. They are useful to games that use them. Rootwoven did not use those features. Outside the package itself, our game called Play Games only to authenticate and obtain a credential for our own account system. We only wanted the login result. Players still got the Play Games login flow. For an established player, that flow could feel quick. For a first-time player, or an account whose Play Games state had been reset, it could ask them to create or choose a gaming profile and approve additional access before Rootwoven received anything. One old permission line also mentioned Google Drive. That referred to this game's private app data storage, not permission to browse a player's Drive files. It was legitimate Play Games functionality. It was simply not functionality Rootwoven needed for identity. Those screens made sense for Play Games, but our player had tapped Rootwoven's login button and now had to set up another service first. And even after accepting those prerequisites, the credentials still did not fit our backend directly. Those 3 client calls were not the whole integration. Play Games returned a server authorization code, a short-lived code our backend could exchange once with Google. Our account login at the time needed an ID token instead. That token identifies the Google account that signed in. So our backend exchanged the code with Google using server-side web client configuration, got the ID token, and completed the Rootwoven login. Our first exchange returned an access token, but not the ID token our login needed, so it failed, with Google ID token invalid. We then learned that the Unity request also had to include the OpenID scope. This was the supported Play Games flow. The web client secret stayed on our server, and each code could be exchanged only once. But we still had custom code. It just lived on the server. And it gave us another login path to support. The old path needed Google authentication configuration plus a Play Games project, credentials, tester or publication access, and the correct release state. It also depended on player-side state, which Google account Play Games selected, whether it had a usable gaming profile, and whether consent was still valid. The replacement still needs Google authentication configuration, but it no longer depends on Play Games project, release, profile, or consent state. If any of the old setup was wrong, the player just saw login fail. Rootwoven needed a stable Google identity. Play Games needed a Google account with a working gaming profile. Those were different requirements. The profile and consent screens were extra steps, but at least the player could see them. When a managed Google account required a device screen lock, Rootwoven could not tell them what was wrong. The managed Google account showed how hard the old flow was to diagnose. On an Android 16 Samsung device, the player selected an account managed by a Google organization. Google Play services required a screen lock. Rootwoven received only "not authenticated," the same result as a dismissed screen, no usable Play Games profile, or another interruption inside Google Play services. We reproduced the same failure on a clean API 36 Play Store virtual device. Device logs from Google Play services named the real condition: device management screen lock required. Rootwoven still received only "not authenticated." Setting a PIN did not make sign-in work. Android accepted and used the new lock, but Google still rejected the device. Restarting Rootwoven did not help. Google then posted an "account action required" notification. Opening it took the tester into Google's recovery flow, outside Rootwoven. Adding the lock was not a Rootwoven fix. The game still could not distinguish a canceled screen, a missing Play Games profile, or an organization rule. It could stop repeated prompts and show screen lock help. The actual remediation had to happen outside the game. At that point, we asked why Rootwoven login depended on Play Games at all. We thought the choice was Google's plugin or an authentication system written entirely by us. It was not. We could use Google's account UI through a small Android adapter. Play Games was doing what it was built to do. Google's current guidance treats Play Games' identity and a game's own account as separate jobs. Rootwoven needed the second one. The new path still relies on Google for sign-in. Our code opens Google's UI and returns the ID token to the login endpoint we already had. The new client no longer asks for a Play Games profile, gaming scopes, or a server authorization code. When the player taps Continue with Google, Unity calls a small Java adapter. Credential Manager opens Google's account UI and returns the ID token to our existing login endpoint. Rootwoven checks the token's basic shape and audience, so obvious configuration errors fail cleanly. That is not cryptographic verification. The account service still validates the token. The adapter prevents overlapping requests, handles app focus and timeouts, and returns the result to Unity. Google provides the account UI, and the server validates the identity. The commit removed 12,508 lines, mostly the vendored Play Games package and related integration files, not 12,508 lines of code we wrote. The useful result is simply that the new login no longer includes Play Games. On August 3rd, we installed that staging build and completed Google sign-in without needing a Play Games profile. The player chose a Google account and returned to Rootwoven. For players, the change is simple. Play Games profile setup is no longer part of Rootwoven login. Managed accounts can still require re-authentication, a screen lock, administrator action, or a different account. That has not changed. We chose the plugin to avoid building Google sign-in ourselves. That has not changed either. Google still handles sign-in. We maintain a small Android adapter that connects it to Rootwoven.